everybody, it's Christine with Cocoa Daisy, and today I'm going to share with you my stamping video for April from our Meadow collection using the two stamp sets. We have two this month from the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit and the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. So I'm going to show you those, and I'm going to show you some fun ideas on how to layer those and ways to use those in your memory planner as well. I've got a little snippet of something I did with that. And then also at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about a restock of a couple of very requested stamp sets that we finally have back in stock in the store. So I'm going to talk about those as well. All right, we are going to work with the two stamp sets that are in the memory keeping kits. The Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit, which is this one, and the Modern Memory Keeping Kit, which is this one with the butterflies. And those are part of the Meadow collection, which is part of our April collection. And I'm going to start with the Modern Memory Keeping stamp set, and that one has the butterflies. Before I do though, I wanted to show you, there were so many pretty colors that went with our collection this month, so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to let you know the colors that I used. So I used blush pink from the Stamp Market, cheeky from the Stamp Market, this celery stick, which is a really pretty green, from Lawn Fawn. I did not end up using this brown, but there is a lot of tans and browns in the collection, so if you wanted to have one, this Memories sand I thought looked really well, at least from my stash. I'm sure there's a lot more, but this is just from my stash. Stampin' Up, this Soft Sky, and I use this blue all the time. That's one of my favorite blues. Stampin' Up, also the So Saffron and the Daffodil Delight. So those are all of the colors, and then of course just your nice basic VersaFine black. This is my absolute favorite black to use, and we do have this in the store. So it just gives a great crisp, nice black image, especially if you're doing anything with fine lines like this Renew, Refresh, Recharge stamp that has a little bit of a finer line. That works really, really well with that. So let's talk a little bit about this stamp set. There are some fun little butterflies in here. We went with a silhouette. I thought they would be so pretty because of the pastels in the collection. I thought they would be so pretty to layer under some of the sayings. And as you can see over here, we did kind of a rainbow effect with them when I stamped them. But we've got some really fun sayings. Not everything is necessarily spring. Because we've done so many spring collections, sometimes I like to branch out just a little bit and create some things that are maybe just a little bit more universal. So if you dig in your stash, you'll find in some of our past spring collections, we've done clouds and raindrops, and all of those will work beautiful with this stamp set as well. Like the When Skies Are Gray would be cute with one of our past clouds and raindrops and that kinds of things. So we do have some spring things in here, but then we also have some nice things that are a little more evergreen that you can use all of the time. Like This Was So Yummy is great to have. Absolutely loved this with the little heart. Our Favorite Things, and then the Renew, Refresh, Recharge, which is real fun. And all of these are real fun to use as headers if you do pocket scrapbooking, to add to one of the pocket squares for your journaling, to layer if you do 12 by 12, to layer around a photograph or to layer in with your journaling, or even if you do memory planning, which I will show you something in a moment where I did, where I used both of them together on that. So the butterfly obviously is going to be so much fun, and so you can see where I used that in a number of spots. And again, like I mentioned, I used it in a nice pastel, not too dark a color, so that you could layer some of those words over top. So you have like the Our Favorite Things layered over top or underneath the small butterfly. This Was So Yummy next to the smaller butterfly. and the Renew, Refresh, Recharge layered over the large butterfly. I did the same thing here with the Absolutely Loved This, kind of have the butterfly off to the side and then added the header that way. You can also use the pretty little leaf sprig here, or the little branch, with some of the sayings as well. And then you can always combine all three. So you did the butterfly with the saying with the leaf. And then remember that you can take that leaf, you can stamp it, turn it, and stamp it the other way, and then you get a longer one like that. And then I did the little When Skies Are Gray over top of it. Another thing that you can do is you can layer the two butterflies. Because they are the same image, one is just bigger than the other, you could layer it in between. So I did a light, kind of the yellow, I think that's the So Saffron, and then I layered the blush over top. So another thing that you could do if you wanted to really get into like fussy cutting, you could stamp each of those separately, cut them out, and then layer them on top of each other and create a dimensional effect with the little butterflies. So here what I did is I stamped the butterfly kind of in an ombre effect with the blues, and then I added the Here Comes the Rain with that. And another thing I wanted to mention, oh wait, that reminds me, so I did use another blue, and that was this Memento Summer Sky, so that's where you see the darker blue. One of the things I wanted to mention is sometimes you can take a saying and create kind of an image or an idea out of what the saying represents. So what I mean by that is, Here Comes the Rain again is talking about rain falling. So if you have a background, you're going to do a layout about rain or the kids splashing in the puddles or something like that. You could create an entire background using this Here Comes the Rain by just repeatedly stamping that, and it gives that illusion or that effect of raindrops falling. So sometimes it's fun to take words or sayings and create what they're talking about in an image. So you're doing that by creating that effect of rain falling by stamping that over and over again in the blue. So that's what I did here. And then I took the butterfly, and I thought it would be so pretty. You could run this down the side of a page. You could do an entire background this way. You could do a section if you were doing a 12 by 12 layout and you had your photograph kind of off-centered. You could, from the top to the bottom of the page, running behind your photograph, run a rainbow effect of all of the butterflies. And that would be so pretty, and it would draw your eye to the photograph running down the page. And so I did that with this here. And you could also, another thing that would be really, really fun is to stamp all of the butterflies in a very light gray, but then just stamp one butterfly in a real bright color. That would be a neat effect as well. So that is using just this stamp from the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you this one. So now this one is from the Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit. And we created a really fun layering system so you could create a bunch of different titles. So the spring is set up with this space in between. And then there's two options. There's a straight line and then there's a dotted line that fits in that area. And so what you can do is you can stamp the spring, stamp one of the lines, and then finish off the title by stamping one of these words, the time, memories, favorites, or break. So you have spring memories, springtime, spring break, spring favorites. So you can do all of those, but you can mix and match with the lines, without the lines, or with the dotted line. So it's a fun way to create that whole layered effect, and you have so many versions of that. So if you if you're doing a mini album about spring or a spring vacation, this would be a great way. You could stamp one of these on every page with a photograph, and it would keep it very cohesive. The other thing, we included this circle, and the spring fits in there. So you can see what I did here. So I stamped the circle, I did spring, I added the lines, and then the word memories. I did the same thing here, but I did it with the dotted lines. So you have spring favorites, and then I kind of did more multiple colors with that one. The other thing that you can do is this, it's a good day to have a great day. You can fit that in between the spring. So I did that here with the circle as well. I show you how I did it here without the circle. And then the rainy days, you can layer that on there. There's a for real and there's a rainy days. You can layer that in there. Obviously, you can use just the circle. And as I've shown in other videos when we've had the circles, you can punch pattern paper to put in the middle of that as well. So here I stacked the for real and then the memories. I did the for real, it's a good day to have a great day. And then of course the rainy days with the spring there as well. Now, if you wanted to bring in some of these stamps, so if you have both sets, if you get both sets, and if you subscribe to the stamp subscription, you will get both sets, or if you get both of the memory keeping kits, you will get both sets. So I always like to show a few ways to use them all together. So you could stamp the circle with the butterfly in the background and then one of the sayings over top. I did the circle with the small butterfly with the spring and then added the time in there. So you have springtime layered in the circle. I did spring and then I put that little leaf or branch in the middle of that with that circle. And then this one, I really loved how this one turned out. So it has the spring and then the word break in there. So you've layered those two. And then I did the absolutely loved this. I layered that underneath, and then up along the side, I added that leaf sprig. So there's a lot of stamps that go into that, and that would be such a pretty header. Or if you cut that out and you used that as a title for your journaling, that would be so pretty to use. This is a nice little simple one. Rainy days and then renew, refresh, recharge. So I just layered those together and I ran the rainy days going up like that on the side. And then this one I think is my favorite, and I'll show you how I used this another way as well. So I stamped kind of I used the blue and green for the butterfly. And what I did here, so you can see that this butterfly has kind of a mottled effect or a marble effect. It has the blue and the green. So what I did is I stamped the butterfly in the blue twice. Then I took my stamp, I inked it up with the light blue, and then I just barely touched the green ink as well. And then I stamped it down. So it picked up a little bit of that green with the blue at the same time. And I stamped that underneath. Then I added the spring with the dotted line, and then I stamped the time in the green. So again, another great way to layer all of those together. So what I wanted to show you, sometimes if you're working in a memory planner and you have a space to fill, normally I try to put a photograph every day, but if you miss a day or you just don't have any photographs for that day, or if you want to break up all of the photographs, a fun way to do that is to add a bunch of stamping in one of the sections. So one of the things that you could do is, if you have a bunch of stamps that are similar to what they're saying or similar in theme, so you have rainy days, here comes the rain, when skies are gray, even the springtime, you could layer a bunch of those words and make a collage of all of the words and fill in a section. That's a lot of fun. I've done that before, where I've stamped a bunch of them in gray, and then in the one that I want to be my dominant title or word, I will then stamp in black. And that fills the space in really nice as well. But this one, what I did is I took this idea, this springtime idea, and all I did is I just added a few more butterflies around it, and I filled in that space. And a little trick that I wanted to show you, if you want to stamp off of the page, but you are off of the section, but you don't want it to go on the other part of the page, when you go to do your stamping, and I just loaded a little time-lapse photo of how video of how I did this, so you can check out my Instagram feed and you'll see that. But you can lay down a piece of scrap paper, and then when you stamp, it goes to the edge, you lift that off, and it keeps this all nice and clean. So that's how you can stamp off the edge of an area and keep it clean and fill just the space that you want. So that's a fun little tip on how to fill up a section with some stamping. And I wanted to mention before we go, because these are a couple of stamp sets that we've had a lot of requests for to get back in stock. And this one is the daily, I believe it's called Daily Header Tracker stamp set. And we designed this, we had this with a promotion a while back, and we designed this. And actually, I'm gonna grab my March setup just to show you what I'm working on so you can see how that works. So what I do, the sections, if you get our daily inserts, they have areas for you to put headers. Now you can, obviously you can write those, you can use stickers for those, but this stamp set is designed to fill in those areas. It fits perfectly whether you use our A5, B6, or personal size ring bound inserts. They will fit in these header sections. So that's what that is. And it has the numbers. You can do tracking. So it has your hydration, it has weather, it has medication, it has workout. So it has a bunch of fun other little things that if you want to use it as a tracker, you can. It has meal plan on there. It has the days of the week, and then it also has the dates for a full month on there. So that is in the store now. If you go to the Daisy store, under the stamps and ink section, you will find that stamp set. And we also have back in stock, and we actually call this, so this was from, I don't remember what month we had these. We did the solid 1 month and we did the outline another month. But we're calling this our Beanstalk Alpha because it's tall and skinny. So you have a solid and you have an outline. So you can use them together, you can use them separately. So those are also now in the store, and I love to use these for stamping in my planner, in my memory planning. It's great for titles. In your memory keeping as well. So that's the Beanstalk Alpha, the solid, or the outline. So I just wanted to mention, because that was something that people have been asking for, that those are now back in stock. So that is a little look at all kinds of fun stamp stuff that we have for you for April.